So here we go, guys. Welcome down to DTR Division 2 on this Thursday night, and it's the first race of Season 10 as we are on our one-shot qualifying for the sprint race as we are on board with Bob Spun. Going to try and get towards the front with Wazza. This is a nightmare. So on board with Wazza, currently in P1. We've got Hammers in P2 just behind him, so we will see if Wazza can get on pole. Usually a really good qualifier, just crashes a lot in the race, runs a little deep there in the final corner. Can anyone gain on him? Connor goes up into P2 and Wazza crosses the line in P1. So Wazza's done a 10.2 with Connor just behind on a 10.4. So running through the grid, we've got Wazza on pole with Connor behind in P2. F1 Johnny is in P3, so just testing the audio there, that is all good. Brother Adam P4, Kitchen P5, Jack is in P6 with Ralph, Skipper and Hummer and Double rounding up the top 10. Double's had a good time there, P10. He wasn't expecting any pace today, and looking down, we've got quite a few disqualifications there, so track limit's quite difficult at this track, and I think I might have been holding everybody up there. So yeah, we've got Wazza on pole for this sprint session, and I think everyone should be running mediums, I think. So I'm covering for Boy tonight as his internet is playing up a little bit, so we don't get all the fancy PC graphics and stuff because I'm not that technical. But we should have a good race install for us regardless. So I think there was 10 or 12 drivers qualified and then the rest was disqualified, so we will see quite a lot of penalties in this race. That will be a deciding factor for quite a few of the positions, especially with a late safety car. Regarding strategy around here, I think it's quite a short pit stop. The entry is quite short and the exit does cut turn 1 and kind of turn 2 a little bit, so usually I always get some good action around here as we're waiting for the players to pick the sprint strategy. So here we go with the formation lap. Let's get all the stuff on the screen. So yep, everyone is on mediums, so we'll have position change on there. We'll have the telemetry off, get the information on full track, and that will do us. So pole position, we've got Wazza, Connor just behind him in the Williams. So we've got the Williams P2 and P3 with Johnny just behind, Ferrari driver Brother Adam in P4 with Daniel Kitchen just behind. Jack is the lead Mercedes driver, second Mercedes driver in P6, so Mercedes are in good position here as well, P1 and P6. Ralph in the V-cab just behind Jack. Skipper P8 for the Sauber team, and Hummer is in P9. Double, decent qualifying from him, P10. He is the lead Haas driver, so the second Sauber driver composite, P11. Bog in P12. I think he would have thought he would have been a bit higher up, I think, but struggled yesterday in Division 1 a little bit. Bob Spun was expecting a little bit more pace from him, but I think he disqualified there. Hammers, same again, disqualified. He's not been able to practice much this week. Pac-Man again. So you're looking at Pac-Man, Hammers, Bob. They've probably got more pace than where they are here, so they should get through the field a little bit. The cat's list invalidated as well, P16, and rounding up the grid is Milan in P17 in the Alpines. So we will jump On board with Wazza. Here we go as the back of the grid begin to find their grid slots. So here we go, the drivers are ready. We have got 5 lights and away we go. So we'll jump on board with them. Let's see what kind of start Waz's got. Waz's got a good start there with the 2 Williams battling just behind as we come through turns 1 and 2. Looking, oh, bit of contact here at the back between the Ferrari of Pac-Man and the McLaren of Bog. So there was locked wheels for quite a bit on the exit of 2 there. And oh, big crash, big crash. That's Bog on the grass. So Bog and Pac-Man having a little ding-dong early on in the sprint race. So we've got yellow flags flashing in the top left, but I don't think the game can really decide what to do about it. All the cars are running. We've got no DNFs on track yet as Wazza has pulled out that 1.2 second gap. F1 Johnny up into P2, getting past his teammate there from the line with the Williams still second and third with Kitchen just behind them. So Kitchen showing some good space, good pace here, and Brother Adam, the lead Ferrari driver at the moment, as his teammate got caught up in quite a few incidents there with Bogorovsky. So it'll be interesting to see if that goes to the stewards and what will happen with that. So jumping on board with Jack, the second Mercedes driver at the moment in P1 and P6. So you have a good little battle here in the midfield. So Lukatzis up 4 places at the moment, so he's the biggest winner of all, and double has somehow lost 5 places. So something's happened there. Let's see what other battles we've got on track at the moment. With Bob Spawn, and we'll jump on board with Lewis here in the McLaren as they come through the, I think that's the second chicane, heading up towards the hairpin. This corner can be tricky, causing people to brake a little late, as the Red Bull of Bob Spun almost ran a little bit deeply into that corner, catching Composite. Lewis has got Milan on the back of him, who has a penalty already. As they come through the final chicane and the Wall of Champions there, which has been extended to make it a little bit safer. As you can see, Lewis making a move. He's done 1, done 2, and he's been dive bombed. So that was a great move from Lewis. Took 2 drivers and just gets dive bombed by Lukatzis, which was a little bit naughty, really. Just accept the position's gone and come back. There's no need to hit the driver in front. But luckily, both drivers survived that incident and they can both carry on. So Jack has a penalty, still in P6, but the track limits will be an issue on this track. So we are on lap 3 of 12 of this Canadian sprint race, and Wazza is miles out in front at the moment, 3 seconds clear of second place Connor. So there's Wayne just pulling ahead, but Wayne does like to get a penalty or 2, so this 3 second buffer he's got may be really important for him. Let's see what other battles we have on track. Jump on board with Ralph in the V-cab as he's on the as he's just behind Skipper, battling for P7, and Skipper's having a look at P6 of Brother Adam in the Ferrari as well. So unfortunately, Bog and Pac-Man are stuck at the back there after the collision they had into turn 3. So that's unfortunate then, but they will go again with the 1 shot, and they have the race as well. So that's the beauty of this format. You may have an incident, but your main race isn't over yet. So unfortunate for those 2, but they will be back in contention in the main race, and hopefully they don't have any more contact again. So good move there from Brother Adam, taking that position back from Skipper. Skipper gets the DRS, looks on the inside, but he's forced to the outside, and he gets that move done, and Ralph is looking on the inside as well. I think Ralph could have just lifted, tucked in behind of Skipper there, and they both would have got through the corner a little quicker. And I think that's the issue with some drivers, that they leave the car on the inside, out of position, and then back out, and I think it causes both cars to lose a bit of time. We've got a good battle going on behind here with Lewis on the inside into turn 3, on the outside of turn 4, just drops off and tucks in behind, and he's eyeing up Bob Spun on the inside of 5 or 6 and 7. So a bit of contact there, and that's obviously caused Lewis into a spin. I did look away for a second, looking at the track map to see what corner that was, and I didn't really see who was at fault. Was that as the Haas of Double? Was it? I'm not sure. There was a car in the wall there. That was Double. He was in the wall, and I think, yeah, he's got damage. He's lost half of his front wing there, so he's gonna have to pit, as he's got Lacazes all over the back of him, and Double might as well just let him go. I think with the damage he got, he can't really compete there. He's going to have to box. Brother Ram gets a pit, and Double hits Lacazes on the exit of the hairpin of turn 10. So lap 6 of 12, halfway through this sprint race, with Wazza out in front now, still extending that lead to 4 seconds. Connor and Johnny pretty equally matched in the Williams, with Kitchen just behind them. Jack has dropped off a little bit, a few seconds behind in P5, but he has gained a place. He was in P6 previously. As we head down the grid a little bit, jump on board with Skipper. Good to see Skipper back, one of our longest serving members in DTR. Always a safe driver. Some seasons he can have quite a bit of pace, and some seasons not so much, but one of the safer drivers on track, I think, and always means well. And he is currently in P7, so he's having a good race there, just behind Ralph, with Bob Spun just behind him. So Bob surviving that contact with Lewis, and he sends it on the outside of Skipper into turn 1, and woof, yep, loses it. So that's dropping Bob now down into P10, and that's unfortunate for him, as he did a lovely move on the outside of turn 1 there, but I think he may have just lost the back end a little bit. As we jump on board with his teammate Hummer in P9, all over the back of Brother Adam at the moment. Oh, so Hummer makes a little bit of contact with Brother Adam there. Nothing serious, he wouldn't have any damage from that, but I think it's a sign of Hummer possibly having a little bit more pace than Brother Adam there, as he opens that DRS wing and heads down the back straight and takes P8. Quite a few drivers on penalties at the moment, and looks like it's 8 drivers in total. Quite surprised Wayne doesn't have a penalty, but he does have the margin now to get a penalty and still win this sprint race. Trying to see which battle's on track. Then head up towards the front. We've got the battle for P2 between Connor, Johnny and Daniel, as they head through the session chicane, and Connor picks up a penalty, so most likely not going to get this P2 position, and he's had a really good sprint race up to that point, so he'll be pretty gutted about that. I think he's going to drop down to P4 as it stands, giving Johnny P2 and Daniel that final podium spot. So it looks like Lewis possibly pitted, I think. I think he picked up a bit of damage from his little tussle with Bob Spun down in turn 6 and 7 a few laps ago. So this is not a good start for the McLaren drivers, but I think with Lewis having more practice next week, he'll be a bit more up there on pace. But he was in a decent position, but the contact with Bob Spun was unfortunate, as nearly all the drivers have got penalties now. Waz has picked up a penalty, Johnny's picked up a penalty, so Connor is now net P3 as it stands, with Daniel looking like he'll be getting the P2 spot if he doesn't pick up any penalties. The only drivers without a penalty at the moment: Daniel, Ralph, Bob, Pac-Man and Bogorovsky, and Double. So tricky circuit with track limits. It's the new game as well, everyone trying to adapt to the new game. We've got some new features, including the way you manage your ERS and tyre pressures and your engine braking, which contributes to your ERS. So quite a few changes, and it's going to take a lot of the drivers, including myself, a good few races to adapt to the game and figure out what is the quickest strategy in the race. There's quite a lot of us struggled yesterday, so but it's good to have the game changed and seeming a little different, rather than being the same game every single year that we end up stuck with. So we will have a look at the penalties. Whoa, Jack's got 13 seconds, but I do believe one of those will be a 5-second penalty. I think it accidentally puts 10 seconds on when it should be 5. So Milan, 9 seconds penalty. That's the top 10 finish, him just reeled out completely. Top 3 drivers on the 3-second penalty, so Daniel gaining from that at the moment. Jack will drop quite a few places, but he may be able to appeal for that to the stewards. Going to jump on board with Skipper, who is currently in a battle with Hummer for this P7, as he has the DRS, but chooses to tuck in behind. It's lap 11 of 12, so he can maybe set this move up for the final lap and clinch that P7 position. Both drivers are on 3 seconds of penalties, and it'll be interesting at the front to see if... So Waz has still got another 3-second penalty in hand, but he would possibly lose the win to Daniel, maybe, so he doesn't want to pick up another penalty if he can. Heading up front with Wayne, who's on his penultimate lap as he comes through the final chicane, getting ready to start his last lap, and hopefully for him sealing the victory. I think these tyres are struggling a little bit now. The medium tyres really drop off around lap 10, lap 11. So we may see a couple of more penalties. Yeah, as we see, Hummer gets a 3-second penalty and Wayne does look like he's struggling, but all the drivers are in the same position here. I think the game needs fixing, because the mediums just drop off way too quick. As Wayne is just really struggling on this this final lap, as he runs wide a little bit. He lifts to avoid getting the penalty. As he comes around the hairpin for the final time, as Lukatzis picks up a 3-second penalty as well, putting him up to 6 seconds. So we've got yellow flags on track. Looks like a Ferrari is off in sector 1. Looks like it was turn 3 and 4, I think. That'll be... I'm not sure who that is actually. So Wayne crosses the line in P1 as Connor crosses the line in P2, but Daniel jumps in, taking that second place, but Connor, it gets to the podium. P3. Jack was P4 but drops down to P5 because of that penalty, but he could possibly appeal that. I'm not too sure. Drops down to P6 overall as the rest of the drivers begin to cross the line. Lakatsas is next, currently in P12. Composite rounding is coming through in P13. Pac-Man had a little bit of trouble beginning the race with Bogorovsky. Crosses the line in P14. Bog crossing the line in P15. Early damage ruined his sprint race. Same with Lewis, got in some trouble with Bob Spun midway through the race, and Double crossing the line like a champ in P17, I think it was. Yep, 17. So, but he had a good qualifying. The race didn't work out well for him. I think he ended up in the wall at one point as Bob Spun gets the driver of the day. So we go with the points on board. Wayne gets 8, Daniel gets 7, Connor gets 6, Johnny 5, Ralph 4, Jack 3, 2 for Skipper, and rounding the points up is Hummer with 1 point. Shearage waiting for the drivers to load up their setup for this next one-shot quali, which will start in around about 30 seconds. Man to watch will be Wazza. He just had pole in the previous qualifying, so we'll jump on board with him as he got it on pole, won the sprint race, and he'll be looking to get it on pole again for the feature race. Hopefully less disqualifications this time. Everyone can get their lap times in. So here we go. So we go on board with Wazza as he comes down into turn 1 in third gear, down into second in turn 2, up into third as he gets his foot down on the exit. As he makes his way down into the first chicane, turns 3 and 4, cuts the corner a little bit and invalidates. So that's Wazza done for qualifying. So who else could be in with a shout for quali? Let's get on board with... We'll do the rest of the lap with Connor because he was P2 last time as he invalidates. What is going on? Jack is just slipped down to P2 actually due to Lewis getting the jump on him. So Lewis currently in P1, Jack in P2 as we jump on board with Lewis. This will be great for Lewis if he can get on pole here for the race. Let's come down to the final chicane. This is where you can make it or break it, and he gets to the chicane okay. And he crosses a line in P2. Jack just steals pole from him, and I mean it's what, half a tenth? Absolutely nothing in that at all between the Mercedes driver and the McLaren driver. So great qualifying from them. It's really mixed the grid up for him where it was in the sprint race with the Williams dropping down, Wazza invalidating, a real mix up to the grid there. Bog, P5, so we've had an absolute complete reshuffle from what we saw in the sprint race, which is going to be absolutely brilliant for the race. We should see a quick Wazza climbing up the order a little bit as well. So here we go as the drivers are getting the setups ready for the race. So the qualifying was completely flipped on its head from the sprint race qualifying, with Lewis getting up there, and we always knew he had pace, but he obviously invalidated first time round, improved a lot second time. The big shock is Wazza invalidating early on in that lap. I think it was the first chicane, so it'll be interesting to see him try and make his way back up through the grid as we begin the formation lap. So we'll get the details on the screen. Position change, the gap. I'm just going to reduce the gap for now so we can see a bit more of the screen. Full track map. So here we go, we're going to run through the grids. We've got Jack P1, Hammers just missing out on pole there in P2, but a great turnaround from the sprint race. Lakatsis, much better qualifying for him again, second time round. F1 Johnny P4 in the Williams, much better qualifying from Bog there in P5 with Bob Spun just behind him. P6, who did have a little tangle with Hammers in the McLaren, so hopefully he doesn't hit the other McLaren this time round. Pac-Man. He's going to be staying right behind Bog, so they had a bit of a ding-dong in the sprint race, so hopefully no contact with those two. Double great qualifying for him up into P8. 2 places better off than first time around the quali, so that's good for him. Daniel in P9 with Skipper rounding up the top 10 there. In 10th, Ralph is P11 with Skipper's teammate just behind him in P12. Milan P13 with Hummer just behind him. Connor, he was P2 previous qualifying, I think he was, and he's dropped down to P15, so an invalidated lap from him along with Wazza and Brother Adam. So it'll be interesting to see if Wazza can make his way up through the pack. As we can see, Jack is on the starting grid already as the back Brother Adam there taking a bit of a corner, but we'll head back up to the front as the Catsis and F1 Johnny look like they made contact at some point. So yeah, so we're at the front of the grid with Jack on pole position. So we'll jump on board with Jack for this race and we'll get a bird's eye view of the start, looking back from the Mercedes as it's 5 lights. And away we go. So it looks like Lewis maybe got the better start, but Jack's recovered from that as we come into turn 1. As Lewis sneaks down the inside, a little bit of contact with Jack there, and Lakatz is trying to get involved as well as we jump on board with him. Do not send it. Good. That could have been deadly as Wayne is up 4 places into P12. As we come into turns 6 and 7 here on lap 1. So far so good. It doesn't look like there's been too many accidents, I think, as we jump on board with Bog heading down into what is turns 8 and 9. So these chicanes are quite quick, tricky, very easy to run wide and pick up a penalty as we come down into turn 10, the hairpin, before the long straight as we just go past turn 11. That is classed as a turn, and Bog, I'm assuming, is getting on the ERS here to get past Johnny, and Johnny just tucks in behind, and we'll just let Bog go on this occasion. So far so good. No incidents as yet as we work down the grid and have a look at Wazza as he's having a look on the inside of Ralph. Nice clean move there from Wayne as he exits turn 2, and he is now going to begin to hunt down Skipper in P10. Wayne just needs to keep it clean, keep the pace good, and try and avoid those penalties, I think. Let's go have a look at the tyres. The top 12 are on mediums, Brother Adam's gone on to softs, and Hummer medium. Just two drivers on the hard strategy of Milan and Connor. Jack, fastest lap, crossing the line doing a 1 minute 12. No drivers have any penalties as yet, which is good to see, and Wayne is now up into P10, so he's into the points. As we're on board with Bob Spud as we come into turn 6 and 7, and he's having a good race at the moment, building a little bit of gap from the car behind, and trying to chase down Johnny ahead. So good race from McLaren so far, with Bog and Lewis P2 and P4. Lecatsis still in P3 as he gets the DRS on Hammers, but Hammers has it as well, and he may have a look at Jack, but no, he thinks better of it, just tucks him behind. That will bring Lecatsis right up behind into this battle as he makes the move on Lewis for P2. Great aerial shots. We've got the safety car, and Pac-Man is out of this race, so we didn't see that, so the cars will just pass the safety car as the leading drivers will have to go all the way around and catch up with the safety car. So cars that are pitted, Wayne's pitted for the hard tyre. This could work because those hards can go to the end. The hard tyres will definitely go to the end. I think some of the drivers ahead will pit as well, but they will have 1 lap fresher hards than Wayne. I got 30 laps out of them yesterday, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. If I was Jack, I would pit. These mediums drop off around lap 8, lap 9. Just get rid of them, and I think everyone will copy him doing that as well. So let's see what Jack does. Jack does not pit. Lecatsis does not pit. Hammers does not pit. Bogorovsky pits. So I think this is the right move. I really do think this is the right move. So Bog should go to the hards, as he does. White stripe tyre, and it looks like Skipper is the only driver with a 3-second penalty at the moment, so we'll keep the tyre tyres on the screen so we know what tyres they are on, and we can see who has stopped. So 5 drivers stopping at the moment: Bogorovsky, Wayne, Brother Adam, Connor and Composite. So I think this puts Bogorovsky and Wazza. I'm gonna say net P1 at the moment. I think if there's no other safety car, Bogorovsky and Wayne are net P1 and P2, I believe. So I think they've got the strategy perfect on that one. So Milan's chose to stay out. He is on the hard tyre, so he's obviously looking for a longer stint, and he'll be hoping for a safety car a little later on. All the car on mediums, they're going to have to pit around about lap 10, lap 11 I think. So this will be interesting. So it's going to be a good race. A lot of strategy will be going on. Right, so we're still on the safety car conditions with Jack behind the safety car. Look at the track map. All the cars bunched up together. So I think the safety car will be in this lap. So I'm going to make the most and grab a drink. So then the safety car is coming in. Jack needs to lift off a little bit, allow that safety car to go in, and he is gone. So the race is back underway as we jump on board with Lakatsis in P2. So it looks like Jack doesn't have his ERS on at the moment. Jack's ERS is off, and I think it's still off as well. So he does need to turn that back on, but yeah, the Lakatsis remains P2 with Lewis just behind. Top 10 drivers still on those mediums. So it will be interesting to see how far they get with those. Let's have a look at the on board with Bobson, P5 on the back of F1 Johnny. Both on the medium tyres as they come into the hairpin. The tyres are really cold after the safety car, and it does take a couple of laps to get them back up to temperature. Let's see what other battles are happening here as we come down the back straight with Ralph trying to make a move on Skipper. Skipper retains that position as Ralph runs a little deep, which affects Hummers just behind him there, and this bunches up the pack here battling for P9 as he drops off from Skipper in P8 after that little mistake. Skipper is looking to make a move on Double having a great race here in P7 as they make their way through the first chicane. Milan gets a penalty, 3 seconds, and Lakatsis has dropped down to P3 as a penalty as well, so you want to get on board with this as side by side into the second chicane of 8 and 9, and Lewis gets just ahead there, and Lakatsis has to tuck in behind for now. As Lakatsis sends it into the hairpin, bit of contact, and Lakatsis, that's on you, mate. I think you've sent it too late. You cannot claim the inside from that far back, and that is on you, my friend. So that's unfortunate. Hopefully you can recover from that, maybe get another safety car, and that might help the Lakatsis, but sending it from so deep, it's just too risky. It risks both drivers' race. You know, you're fighting for P2. Just tucking behind though, you get DRS down the next straight, and yeah, it's one of those. Just tucking behind, get DRS, and there's no need for the contact, I don't think. But anyways, moving on, as the Lakatsis goes down to P6. Having a look at the rest of the grid, you've got some battles here for P8 with Ralph just behind Double, so he's got a queue of cars behind him here. Get the overhead shot here into 8 and 9 as Double loses that place, and he's going to get swallowed up again, I think, by the Red Bull, who makes a little bit of contact here as they make their way down to the hairpin. A little bit of contact again, and the Alpine just sends it of Milan losing several positions I think after that. So a few drivers outbraking themselves into that hairpin, costing them quite a bit of time. As we jump on board with Bog, he is the lead hard tyre driver, and I don't know what's happened to Wayne, because Wayne was just behind him on the hard tyres as well, but I think maybe Bog just gained a few places from all that chaos, I think. So yeah, Bog's hard tyres will be quicker than the mediums now, 100%, as he looks to make his way through the pack in P10. But at the moment I do have Bog in net P1, because the other drivers will need to pit, so hopefully Bog can keep it tidy, avoid any incidents and penalties, and he'll be in a great position. I think along with Wazza as well, and there's one or two other drivers on the hard tyres also, as they come through the chicane of 8 and 9 in sector 2, making their way to the hairpin, which has seen a few dive bombs in this race so far, as Ralph has a little look on the inside of double, and he's now got 2 cars behind him. All cars have got DRS, so I think it's just a matter of who has the lowest front wing and who utilises the ERS the best in that position, I think. So double crosses the line to begin lap 11. As Bog has a look on the inside, but yeah, Bog's a sensible driver, he'll just lift, tuck in behind, doesn't need to risk any damage, and he knows the tyre advantage that he has. He will get past double shortly, I think. So Skipper getting a 3-second penalty. He's down in P14 at the moment as Bog runs, I was going to say run a little bit deep. I heard the tyres screeching, but he actually did it alright. So, but I was worried he'd gone a little bit too deep. So he's in P8. Like I said, he's on the faster tyre at the moment. We'll have a look and see what Wayne is doing. So Wayne, sprint quali P1, sprint race P1, and he's currently in P13. But I do have him at net P2 at the moment. 5 drivers at the moment having penalties, as Connor and Ralph have a little battle here as they are behind double, and Ralph is going to see if he can get this move done on double on the inside, which he does, and double loses 2 places, possibly 3 places if Wayne can get that move done, as he looks down the inside of double. Knocks double off on the inside on the curb a little bit, but I don't think there was anything malicious in that, as Wayne does jump up into P12 as Wayne hits Ralph, I think it was, yeah, as Wayne gets a little hot in there. Wayne just needs to relax. I'm sure he's in net P2 at the moment, so he doesn't need to get, oh, he has got damage. So Wayne's picked damage up in that incident with Ralph, so did not need to do that, and that has really affected his race. He's going to have to take the hard tyres off, which he does not want to do, and I think he's just going to have to stay at the moment because he knows he's going to have a good position, so that front wing will be affecting Wayne's race. So we've got a McLaren in the pits of Lewis, who pits from the mediums onto the hard tyre, and he looks like he's going to come out in P14. Sorry about that. So yeah, we're in P10 and up into P8. I think all the medium runners are going to begin to pit as we jump on board with the lead car at the moment in Bob. Jack has gone down to P10 after his pit stop. Let's get some of the tyre information on here and we can see who's pitted. So Jack's just pitted, Hammers, Daniel, Milan's just pitted as well. So the drivers on 13 lap old mediums are doing pretty well in that regard, but they should all be pitting pretty soon, I think. Bog up to P5, enjoying his stint here on those hard tyres, and I did predict Bog would win the championship, and he's currently in net P1, so I know my stuff. I do. I feel like it's a great prediction. Bog was a bit flattered by it, and he wasn't expecting himself to win the championship, but he has this race in the bag at the moment, and with Wazza having damage, Bog is in a fantastic position here as Johnny stays out on those mediums, but these will be an absolute nightmare to control at the moment. Brother Adam is on the full lap fresher mediums than Johnny, but these will not be feeling good at all as they make their way through the first chicane. Wayne has picked up a penalty, as I imagine he's losing that little bit of grip with the front wing damage on that Mercedes, as Connor gets a penalty as we are speaking about Wayne's penalties. Let's have a look at the penalties, and whoa, like Cat is at 19 seconds, and I do believe the 10 seconds when you serve them, it is only 5 seconds, and I'm pretty sure that's a glitch in the game, as Hummer gets a little untidy on the exit of the hairpin on lap 15, and I think he should be pitting pretty soon as he dives into the pits. Bog, no, picks up a penalty midway through the race, and he doesn't really want to be getting any more penalties if he can help it. So currently P1 with Brother Adam just behind him. Let's get the tyres on screen. So Bog leading the race with Brother Adam just behind him on 11 lap old mediums. Brother Adam will obviously need to pit again. The only cars that do not need to pit, Bog, Wazza, Jack, anyone on the hard tyres basically, do not need to pit again. Jack up into P5, but like I said, everyone's got penalties at the moment. Bob is potentially in a great position. He's net P4 and is the only driver without a penalty within that group, so he should benefit quite a lot from that, as Brother Adam is having a look at Bog here on them 11 lap old mediums and getting that DRS open to begin lap 17. And Bog, I don't think Bog will fight this too much. He knows this is not his fight. Brother Adam will need to pit as he just tucks in behind, and Bog will just make the most of the DRS and save some ERS battery power, and utilising that as Brother Adam loses the back end a little bit, obviously losing pace on the exit, causes Bog to touch him, and Bog will just get past. I think Brother Adam's tyres are absolutely done now as they make contact, and it pushes Brother Adam into the barrier, but I don't think that was Bog's fall. I think Brother Adam may have just touched the grass and lost the back end a little bit. Milan has left the session. He's retired in the pit lane as Bog now has a little queue behind him with Wayne in P3, so it's a shame Wayne has that damage. You see that front wing has got the end plate missing, but his pace is still up there with Bog, as he's going to look to make a move on him over the start finish line. midway through this race. So Brother Adam stays out again, possibly driving to a safety car. Possibly knows the only way he can get the podium is driving these medium tyres to a safety car, and that's what I tried yesterday, but the safety car did not come, so that kind of ruined my race. But yeah, so still Brother Adam in the lead on those medium tyres with Wazza in P2 and Bog just behind him. So great race for the McLaren drivers and the Mercedes drivers, who net both in the top 4. So we could have an interesting battle for that last podium spot a little later on in the race. So Lacazsis Milan, sorry, he left the session, but he didn't DNF, so I'm not sure what's happened with that. So let's try and find some battles on track. Jump on board with Johnny as he makes the move on Lacazsis, and he gets that done, heading down into 13 and 14, past the wall of champions, and the William driver gets that move done and opens up that DRS wing, crossing their line to begin lap 19 as Lacazsis sends it in a little hot there just behind him, as these drivers made their way through sector 1 on different tyre strategies. Lacazsis on those medium tyres, they may feel a little rough towards the end as he sends it up the inside, but ends up on the outside of turn 7, but gets a good exit and he gets the DRS, so he may make it ahead coming down here into turn 9. Hopefully they don't make any contact, and Lacazsis does get ahead on that occasion, heading up towards the chicane. We've seen a couple of dive bombs here. Is it going to be done again? So nice move there from Johnny as he gets Lacazsis on the inside. So I'm not sure who'll have the DRS, and it's Johnny, so he gets the move done and gets the DRS down the back straight, which should pull him away from Lacazsis a little bit, who now has Daniel all over the back of him. Daniel's getting a little ground on these two drivers as they was battling away during that lap. So Wazza increasing the gap to Bog to 1.4 seconds with 15 laps to go. So Brother Adam has continued on the medium tyre, currently on 15 lap all tyres at the moment, and just having a look to see what battles we have on track. I'm going to jump on board with Jack. Lap 20, P4, as he's on the 6th lap. Old hard tyres coming down the back straight on the back of Brother Adam. He'll be struggling on those mediums. Jack doesn't want to go on the left of him here because I think he may pit, and he does. So Brother Adam enters the pits to get rid of those old mediums. I think he tried to wait for that safety car, but it did not come. So we got the Mercedes and the McLaren drivers taking up the top 4 positions, with Bob Spun just over 3.5 seconds behind Lewis, but he does not have any penalties at the moment, so any late safety car action could really bring Bob Spun in contention with a victory if we do have that late safety car. So coming through the chicane at 8 and 9, and Jack is less than a second behind. Oh, hang on. Oh, I thought he was behind Lewis. I didn't realise he was behind Bog. Right, okay, so Jack's in P3, just behind Bog in P2, and Wayne's beginning to pull away in the distance, as you can see down the back straight there. We've now got a gap of just over 2.5 seconds as Jack makes the move on Bog to make it a Mercedes P1, P2 at the moment, with Bog and Lewis
P3 and P4. So I think Johnny is having a little bit of action here. He's coming into the final again, and he makes contact with Lukatsis. And Lukatsis has had a little bit of contact with a few people in this race, and I'm not saying that was his fault, I'm not sure. I arrived to that one a little bit late and just seen the contact, but no damage caused, and they remain P6 and P7 on this following lap. So Lukatsis is all over the back of Johnny here as he has a little look on the inside, but I think catching that little bit of curb did lose a little bit of traction there as he opens the DRS and gets alongside Johnny heading into 8, and he does get ahead. That does compromise Johnny's line a little bit, who has to take evasive action and heads across the chicane, possibly picking up 1 or 2 warnings for that, and Lukatsis regains that position. And that's nice to see from Johnny, letting him get past straight away after the illegal overtake through the chicane. So Daniel heading up in the straight, down the back straight, getting in the mix between Johnny and Lukatsis for this battle for P6. As the cars cross the line to start lap 23 in this Canadian Grand Prix. We are on board with Daniel in P7, as you can see the 4 cars behind him rounding up the top 11 there, as Lukatsis gets a good exit out of the first chicane, and again has a little look on the inside of turn 6 there. He's done that a few times, just having a little look, putting the driver ahead under a little bit of pressure, but that's caused Lukatsis to lose a little bit of ground to him out of that chicane. And we've got a car off in the background, and that is... who was it? Who was it? We've got yellows. Was it Composite? Or Connor? Yeah, I think it was Connor. Yeah, I think it was Connor who hit the wall there. So Connor has got no front wing at all, and we just seen him going nose straight first into the wall, but quite fortunate not to DNF. So a late safety car in the next few laps would be good for him. Heading back up front, we've got Wazza losing time to his teammate here. Wayne has got that damaged front right end plate, as you can see, and his teammate, obviously with no damage, has been catching Wayne, and I think we could see Jack making a move on Wayne pretty soon. Hammers, he could be closing in on Wayne as well, as Wayne begins to struggle with that damage. So having a look at where the battle's there on track, we'll have a look at Johnny. He's still in this battle here, coming out of the hairpin of turn 10 and across turn 11, looking behind here at Hummer and Lukatsis in the background. Hummer has the rear wing open. Let's see how much ground he can make on the Williams driver as they come into their final chicane. Very cautious there past the wall of champions as they begin lap 25 of this Grand Prix. Coming into turn 1. Brother Adam is the trailing car in this pack for this battle of P6. Quite a few cars having a few drivers having penalties. Like I said, it's a very tricky track and a new game, and easily to run wide on these chicanes, and the tyre wear with the mediums does seem quite extreme as well, so it is quite tricky, as Jack remains 1 second behind his teammate Wayne as we come through the chicane here, looking at this battle for P6, which Daniel is the lead car, and the 4 cars come into the hairpin. So Brother Adam looking to get the move done. Oh, that's a great camera angle. So he just backs out of that one. Hummer gets a 3-second penalty as they cross the line, and Brother Adam does have the DRS and does have the advantage of the more fresh mediums, but they probably only have a good 5 laps left as he has a look down the inside of Johnny here, battling for P8 as Johnny runs a little wide. Looks like he caught a little bit of the curb, lost traction a little bit, drifting around turn 3 as they make their way through. 6 and 7 here just before this DRS zone as Brother Adam will open that wing and try and get down the inside of Johnny as he does, and they make their way through this second chicane of the track in sector 2. It's, oh, big spin from Daniel here, loses traction, managed to keep the car facing the same way, but he's definitely lost at least a second or so in that incident, which has just invited the cars of Brother Adam and F1 Johnny to get a little bit closer to him, but he did manage to get the DRS and recover from that spin a little bit. I think he just caught too much of the curb and lost traction at that moment, so sorry, missed the overtake for P1. Jack getting past Wazza and beginning to make a bridge a little bit of a gap, and we'll now see Lewis close the gap on Wazza, who's struggling with that damage. Is Wazza at risk of losing a podium here with that damage? That front end plate that is missing, losing a lot of downforce and grip, and on 23 lap old hards he will definitely be feeling that now, I think. Absolutely. Making our way through the first chicane, Hammers is clearly closing the gap quite a bit to Wazza as Jack looks like he's harvesting a little bit of energy on this lap through those through the second chicane. Lewis now half a second behind with his teammate Bog dropping off a little bit as Wayne gets another penalty, so I think that might be Wayne's podium done. If Bog can close the gap a bit, as Lewis very patiently there avoids the contact, and I think a lot of drivers do make contact there, and Lewis is one of the safer drivers on track and obviously avoids that contact, which wouldn't help either driver. So as he gets the move done, and he just gets a penalty heading through that final chicane with 13 and 14. You can cut 13 quite a bit, but you just cannot cut 14, and that is where Lewis got that penalty, half a second behind Jack as he exits turn 2, harvesting a little bit of energy in sector 1 here, as you can't really overtake and make a move, so it is a good part of the track to try and save some energy if you can, as they come into this second chicane area just before the DRS, and Lewis has spun. Oh no! That'll be front wing damage as he spins the car, and his teammate will pass him there. So, Lewis, that was so unfortunate. He's had a brilliant race, but still in P4 as it stands. And do we have damage? Yeah, he has both end plates missing, so this will be handling like an absolute pig. So that is super unfortunate. I think he's just going to have to try and bring it home. And with Brother Adam being so far behind, I think P5 could be doable. With Brother Adam, he's going to be struggling on the medium, so I think P5 should be okay for Lewis here. But such a shame as he was battling for the win there, which promotes his teammate Bogorovsky into P3. So that's so unfortunate, Lewis, as Bob Spun is on the back of these two McLarens coming through Sector 1. Lewis with that damage, and we'll be able to see what Bob Spun can do. Can he snatch that final podium place? He doesn't have any penalties, and on the last lap we will reveal the penalties to each driver. So we'll leave that for the last lap, and at the moment it's complete mystery as Lewis really struggles to get through that second chicane or third chicane with no end plate. So Bob comes in. I think Lewis will just have to let this one go. He's not got any penalties, Bob, and yeah, with no damage, he's always going to get past there. So that's unfortunate for Lewis, but I think he should be able to keep hold of this P5. We've got yellow flags. It's turn 1. Connor is out of the race. Safety car. Wow, this may have just won Bog the race, or Bob, because you've got P1 and 2, Wazza and Jack. They've missed the opportunity to pit. This is massive. This is absolutely massive. We're not going to reveal the penalties. We're going to, I think I'm just going to let the race go and not reveal the penalties and see who ends up on top. But Brother Adam, I think he just missed the pit window, or did he pit? No, he didn't pit, so he just missed the pit window. He's just opted to gain those places. He was a good 11 seconds behind Lewis before that incident. He's decided to stay out on those 10 lap old mediums, and he's decided that is the best way he can get a podium. So let's have a run through this at the moment. Jack and Wayne are the unlucky two drivers leading the race, and Wayne has damage. He would have loved to have pitted. I think they may pit actually. Yeah, these will pit. They're going to double stack. They have to do it. Brother Adam 22 seconds behind. They may just come out ahead of Brother Adam, you know. Let's see how big of a weight this is for Wayne as the Sauber driver comes into the pit lane just behind, as Wayne gets double stacked, gets softs, and doesn't fix his front wing. What? Has he? I don't think he's fixed his front wing. I think Wayne will be absolutely swearing in the cockpit there if he wanted the damage to be fixed. But yep, still got the damaged front wing, but he is on some fresh tyres, and he can he'll still be quicker than Brother Adam, I think, on those 11 lap old mediums. They're going to be very tricky to heat up, to get warm after the safety car. Bob Spun, great position, brand new softs, the only driver without any penalties. Bog, I think I've only seen him have one penalty, so obviously he's on at least 3 seconds, but I think it may only be 3 seconds. Johnny, I'm not too sure with penalties with him, but all these drivers on the fresh softs here in a great position. Lakatsis, I don't know why he stayed out. He's going to get swallowed up by Skipper double Ralph composite. Lakatsis needs to pit. He really does need to pit. He cannot gain anything from staying out on those mediums, I do not believe. So the grid is quite spread at the moment. I believe Milan left the race earlier, so composite is technically the last car on track, I think. So what's going on? What is going on here? Has composite been lapped? Yeah, composite's been lapped. So he's stuck between Bob Spun and Bog. This could be interesting, I think, on